Since its first animated movie, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, was released in 1937, Disney's been making us cry. While Disney's animated films are associated with childhood, they're surprisingly brutal in their depiction of the harsh realities of the world. And for many of us, those depictions were some of our earliest experiences with tragedy. As children, we watched as animated people and anthropomorphic animals learn about love, friendship, and the power of family. But these films also taught us sad lessons about loss and loneliness. From the demise of a parent to the challenges of finding our place in the world, Disney's saddest moments stick with us, even decades later. We are here revisiting some of Disney's animated movies' most heartbreaking moments in this video. No Pixar here, just movies produced exclusively by the Mouse House. Each of these moments is a tearjerker, so make sure you have some tissues handy and some recovery time penciled in. Also, given the moments we're covering, a spoiler alert is necessary. We're looking at a wide swath of films, so you may find some plot details for movies you haven't gotten a chance to see yet. Stepsisters destroy Cinderella's dress. Cinderella. In 1950, Disney released Cinderella, the story of a young woman who's treated like a maid by her stepmother and stepsisters. Despite her unfortunate circumstances, Cinderella still maintains her kind demeanor, and she even makes friends with mice and birds. Cinderella's life is upsetting enough, but one of the most upsetting moments in the movie drives it all home. The king decides to hold a ball and requests the attendance of every single woman in the kingdom. Cinderella's stepmother tells Cinderella she'll allow her to go if she finishes all of her chores and finds something suitable to wear. Cinderella is excited and hopeful for the first time in who knows how long. She even finds a dress that belonged to her mother that she plans to redesign for the event. Initially, Cinderella's stepfamily tries to thwart her attendance by piling on chores. So when she can't do it, her friends the mice and birds redesign her dress with discarded pieces from Cinderella's stepsisters. This is when the worst happens. Cinderella is thrilled to see her dress ready for the ball. However, when her stepsisters realize she thinks she's coming with them, they promptly tear Cinderella's dress to shreds. Their excuse? Cinderella stole their accessories to make it. This scene is a display of pure cruelty. After the fleeting highs of Cinderella's hope, it shows how awful people can be and the evil they'll do when they're jealous. Cinderella always deserved better, but this scene demonstrated just how much. All she wanted to do was wear a pretty dress and go to a dance. What's so wrong with that? Anna freezes, Frozen. 2013's Frozen was bookended by two sad scenes that are all about sisterhood. Towards the beginning of the film, we're introduced to the friendship between sisters and princesses Anna and Elsa. They're close until Elsa, who can conjure ice and snow, accidentally hurts her little sister. Afraid of her powers and not wanting to injure her sister again, Elsa isolates herself from Anna. In a musical montage, we see Anna repeatedly reach out to Elsa and get rebuffed every time. Anna's sorrow and disappointment reaches its apex when they're teenagers and their parents are lost at sea. Yet, Elsa still won't interact with her sister. It's heart-wrenching to see the pair sit on opposite sides of Elsa's bedroom door, so close to each other but still so far away. Then comes the scene at the end of the film. The evil Prince Hans has set his sights on taking over the kingdom, and he plans to get rid of both Anna and Elsa to do it. Already believing that he's eliminated Anna, he tells Elsa that she took Anna's life with her powers. After years of trying to prevent this very outcome, Elsa breaks down. Anna notices Hans raising his sword over a distraught Elsa and runs to stop him. Earlier, Elsa accidentally froze Anna's heart, with the infection spreading. If an act of true love doesn't save Anna, she's doomed to be frozen. Anna knows her life's in danger, but goes to help Elsa anyway, and turns to ice defending Elsa's life. Elsa turns around to see her frozen sister standing protectively over her. She's overwhelmed with the realization that her sister sacrificed her life for her. The scene is sad and touching, and thankfully short. Anna's actions were the act of true love that she needed to save herself. She thaws and comes back to life, and our tears of sorrow quickly turn to tears of happiness and relief. Quasimodo crowned the King of Fools, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. The 1996 movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame is one of Disney's darkest, and the scene that made our list is one of its most devastating. After years spent isolated in the famous cathedral, Quasimodo finally decides he wants to venture out and attend the annual Festival of Fools. His guardian, Judge Frollo, warns against it. He tells Quasimodo that he won't be accepted by society because of his hunched back. Quasimodo decides to attend the festival anyway, and at first things go well. Quasimodo is crowned the King of Fools and enjoys a few joyful moments. That is, until the crowd turns on him. They start pelting him with fruit, tie him down with ropes, and jeer at him. It's a heartbreaking lesson in the vicious ways people can respond to the unknown, not to mention how willing people are to judge a book by its cover. Quasimodo may look different, but he's gentle and harmless. Yet, like Frollo told him, the outside world rejects him. The scene is made all the more heartbreaking by Quasimodo's desperate pleas to Frollo for help and Frollo's refusal to assist him. This may be one of the most brutal scenes in Disney history. Stitch leaves, Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch is often remembered as a lighthearted, fun movie. After all, it centers on a precious little girl and her dog, who happens to be an alien. Yet between its many laughs, the movie has its fair share of sad and poignant moments too. The one that gets us the most welled up is when Stitch decides to leave Lilo. Lilo's sister Nani is losing custody of Lilo the next day, and everyone blames Stitch for the sad turn of events. That night, Lilo tries to bond with Stitch by telling him what happened to her parents. To his surprise, she asks him about what happened to his parents too. Lilo asks Stitch to stay with her, but after the trouble he's caused, he decides to go. As he departs, Lilo informs him that she'll remember him, just as she does everyone who's left her. If that weren't heartbreaking enough, once Stitch is at a safe distance away, he realizes he has no idea where he belongs. He helplessly repeats the word lost into the darkness. People who remember this film know that it's all about the Ohana. Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind. And after these sad scenes, it's a relief when Stitch discovers his Ohana. The Beast's life ends. Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast from 1991 is one of the most beloved Disney movies of all time. That didn't stop it from including several tough themes and challenging scenes. The saddest of these comes at the end of the film when the Beast succumbs to his wounds after his castle is raided by the scared townsfolk. Devastated that Belle's left, he initially refuses to fight the jealous muscle-bound doof Gaston. When Belle returns, his will returns too, and he overcomes Gaston. Yet the Beast has been so fundamentally changed by his love for Belle, so instead of taking Gaston's life, he simply tells him to leave. In return for his mercy, Gaston fatally injures the Beast. When Belle finally reaches him, the Beast's ready to accept his fate, even if Belle isn't. As his life ends, Belle finally confesses what the audience has known for some time. She loves him. It's a touching scene that thankfully ends with the Beast's resurrection and restoration to his human form. Baymax sacrifices himself, Big Hero 6. The 2014 movie Big Hero 6 looked like a kid's whiz-bang superhero movie full of characters who fight evil and save the world. And it is. But it's also a whole lot more. There are two truly heartbreaking moments in this film. The first happens early on, when Hiro's beloved brother, Tadashi, loses his life in an explosion after a science fair. Hiro spends weeks in mourning until he activates Baymax, the health robot Tadashi created. The two become allies, and Baymax helps Hiro avenge his brother's death. But he also teaches Hiro that there's a right way and a wrong way to get justice. As the pair try to set things right, Baymax is hurt and realizes the only way to save Hiro is to sacrifice himself. He does so calmly and willingly, insisting that Hiro say he's satisfied with the care Baymax has given him. The scene in which Hiro watches Baymax fall away from him packs a real emotional wallop. For the second time in the movie, we grieve right alongside Hiro. Bambi's mom, Bambi. These last four scenes represent some of the most devastating and well-known moments in Disney animated history, and some of the saddest moments in all of film history too. The first of these is a scene that a whole generation cites as one of their saddest memories: the demise of Bambi's mom in 1942's Bambi. Bambi and his mom are out in the woods when she spies a hunter and instructs Bambi to run. Bambi does as he's told, and initially his mother is right behind him, until a shot rings out and she's not. The audience realizes what's happened before the little fawn. It's heartbreaking when Bambi reaches safety and turns around to find his mother is nowhere to be found. And even sadder when he's told that his mother can't be with him anymore. Just like Bambi, we initially hope we'll see his mother again, even though we know better. And even though the film is now almost 80 years old, it still remains one of the most tragic depictions of the realities of life and death put on film. Widow Tweed abandons Todd, The Fox and the Hound. The Fox and the Hound is one of the more obscure Disney movies, but those who've seen it know it's a beautiful tale of friendship and growing up. It's also one of the saddest, most bittersweet tales in the Disney canon. While the relationship between the fox, Todd, and the hound, Copper, has many ups and downs, the movie's saddest moment involves Widow Tweed. Widow Tweed adopts the orphan Todd when he's just a pup. Unfortunately, she lives next to the hunter Slade. After Todd has had one too many negative encounters with Slade, Widow Tweed realizes she must give Todd up for his own safety. Every beat of the scene in which she lets Todd go will leave you shattered. Todd's excitement at going on the ride contrasted with Tweed's sad expression. The widow taking off Todd's collar, Todd attempting to follow her as she turns to walk away, and Todd's wide-eyed expression as Widow Tweed drives away and he slowly realizes he's being abandoned. It's impossible not to be tied in knots by this scene. Baby Mine, Dumbo. For anyone who's seen the 1941 movie Dumbo, just a few bars of the lullaby Baby Mine will reduce them to a blubbering mess. After attempting to protect her baby from bullies, Dumbo's mom is locked up and deemed mad, yet a devastated Dumbo still turns to his mom for comfort. She reaches her trunk through the bars of her cage and does her best to console him, cradling and rocking him until he smiles. It's a tender final act of love for his son before the pair are separated forever and she can't protect him anymore. Though Dumbo's mother is nothing more than a disembodied trunk through the scene, there's no mistaking her feeling for him. Disney has a history of separating parents and children, and this is a prime example from early in Disney's history. MUFASA'S Trampled, The Lion King. Deep breath, everyone, because we've reached our number one pick. The Lion King was a gorgeous film that had some inspiring and funny moments. However, one of the things it's most remembered for is the demise of Mufasa. Mufasa is the king of the Pride Lands. Early in the film, we learn not only is he a noble ruler, he's a patient and wise father to his young cub Simba. This knowledge makes it all the more distressing when Mufasa meets his end after saving Simba from a trampling herd of wildebeest. Mufasa almost makes it, but his evil brother Scar refuses to help him, and instead tosses him into the herd below. The entire scene is harrowing. Mufasa is pulled into the herd after saving Simba and then pleads for his brother's help, only to realize Scar is gonna do the opposite. It's the part that comes after the wildebeest clear out and Simba finds Mufasa's body that really gets the waterworks going. At first, Simba refuses to believe his father's gone. He implores him to get up, calls for help, and finally crawls under his father's big paw and cries. This is more than a sad scene in a movie. It's one of the most heartbreaking deaths ever put on film, in a moment many filmgoers won't soon forget. Now that we're done ugly crying, it's your turn. Which of these scenes wrecks you the most? Are there other scenes that we missed? Let us know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to The Binger for more great content. We promise most of it isn't so depressing. Thanks for watching.